Welcome to the History of Marvel. Today's episode is Michael Pointer. Michael Pointer was a mutant who used to work as a postman and didn't know he was a mutant. At M-Day, Michael absorbed the Gestalt being that emerged from the energy mass created by the released energy following the Scarlet Witch's dispowering of most of the mutant population. The energy mass arrived on Earth at the town of North Pole, Alaska. A SHIELD convoy observed a humanoid form but was unable to make sense of the energy readings. It turned and easily destroyed the convoy. As it approached the Alaskan border, SHIELD went on high alert. Alpha Flight was sent to stop the being. All members were presumed dead from the resulting confrontation. It continued to head towards the U.S. border. Despite Maria Hill's reluctance, the new Avengers were dispatched to stop it. Ms. Marvel and the Young Avengers were contacted to help, and Captain America asked that Agent Daisy Johnson be notified. Iron Man attempted to make contact with the collective. It mentioned the name Michael. Records showed a postal worker named Michael Pointer had been caught up in its arrival on U.S. soil. Ms. Marvel suddenly engaged the being, absorbing massive amounts of energy in the process to the point where she resembled her binary persona. After continuing to battle the being, she explained it was composed of multiple signatures, all attempting to overwhelm her. The collective then attacked Iron Man with magnetism. Sentry arrived and was able to knock it into orbit. They continued their battle in space. Iron Man was able to regroup with the help of Captain America and went to assist the Sentry. Analysis by Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and Vision, Jonas, determined the energy signature match of those of mutants dispowered by Scarlet Witch. This revelation came at a cost, as S.H.I.E.L.D. was able to learn about the House of M incident due to its Psi Corps listing in on Spider-Man's conversation to Iron Man. Based on the readings, S.H.I.E.L.D. recommended Iron Man and Sentry disengage. The collective returned to Earth and landed in Genosha. Upon finding Magneto, it attempted to transfer itself over to him. Magneto addressed it as Zorn. It seemed the Gestalt was looking for the proper host. Several of the victims of the Wild Sentinels attack were reanimated to attack the new Avengers. Magneto was attacked by Daisy Johnson, leaving him in a comatose state. The Sentry, Ms. Marvel, and Iron Man contained the collective's energies. The energy was dispersed into the sun. Michael and Magnus were placed into S.H.I.E.L.D. custody. However, the transport carrying Magneto mysteriously exploded. No sign of his body was ever found. Michael was examined by Mr. Fantastic, interrogated by S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. He was appointed as guardian to make up for his destruction of Alpha Flight. 3 days before the discovery of the Skrull invasion, Pointer went to Cape Columbia to try to recruit Snowbird, in vain, as she despised him for having caused Alpha Flight's death at the collective. Wearing James Hudson's uniform and asking her to join a team named after Alpha Flight's enemies. Emma Frost recruited Michael to be on her team of X-Men working for Norman Osborn. Norman helped get Michael on the team by manipulating him to think he needed to make up for the deaths he had caused in Canada. Michael's new suit was changed to remove the reference to the Guardian, one of the heroes he had inadvertently slain. Dark Beast created a device to siphon powers from mutants into Weapon Omega that Michael ultimately developed an addiction to. After the reshuffle of Osborn's X-Men, the power-ups began deeply affecting Pointer's psyche. The remnants of the personalities of the mutants he had been draining energy from seeped into his mind. Pointer later experienced nightmares of the mutants he had absorbed, taunting him. After the downfall of Norman Osborn, Omega and Mimic went underground. Michael tried to end his addiction, and Mimic tried to help him by letting him feed on his powers that he mimicked. That didn't help, and it made him ill due to Mimic not being a mutant. So Mimic took him to the Jean Grey School for Higher Learning so Beast could help him. When they arrived, Mimic helped Beast to help Michael, but the energy of the mutants in the school drove Michael crazy, and he almost hurt some students. He was stopped by Chamber and calmed down by Marvel Girl, Rachel Gray. After taking him to the basement lab, the team found out that feeding on Mimic's artificial mutant power changed Michael, and feeding on the energy of so many real mutants sparked a reaction with energies inside him that he would release explosively, killing Michael and everyone around him. Michael told them he was willing to die, and all they had to do was lock him inside a vault and let him explode, but Rogue talked him out of it. The team tried out Mimic's suggestion to divide Omega's powers between Rogue and Mimic after he copied Rogue's power. However, this attempt backfired as Omega's energy became self-sustaining, and instead of dividing it, Rogue and Mimic replicated it, which meant instead of having one bomb, now they had 3 bombs. In order to keep the 3 human-tied bombs from detonating, multiple attempts were made using Rogue to try to override the energy absorption. None of them worked, and the time came where Beast asked Rachel Gray to put all 3 into a psychically induced coma. She reluctantly agreed. Rogue gleaned the information from him that in a previous battle with a super android, he had used his mimicry powers to essentially cancel out both of their abilities. With this idea, Rogue went to Hank with the same idea. If all three absorbed one another's powers at the same time, they would cancel out one another out. With time running out until detonation, Hank agreed. In the locked vault, the three attempted to block one another out. Rogue and Mimic believed it had worked as they were no longer overwhelmed with energy. However, it's revealed that Omega had actually absorbed the energy and would detonate at any time. Being left with no choice other than suicide, Omega said final words to Mimic. "I'm looking forward to seeing what's next." He also requested that Mimic copied Rachel's powers to induce the coma, as he felt more comfortable with his best friend performing the procedure. With Rachel guiding him telepathically, Mimic then placed Omega into a coma and the energy subsided. Beast assured them that he'd work on finding a cure and had him placed in a stasis tube in a sub-basement of the school, where he is currently being cared for until a cure for his condition is found. Omega was next seen with Mimic in Montana, helping him with the cleanup made by a recent hurricane. They were approached by X-Men member Forget-Me-Not, who wanted Omega to remove his powers so people would be able to know that he existed. While they tried to explain to them that if Omega removed his abilities, there was a possibility he could be killed. In the midst of the decision, the three of them were interrupted by Cyclops and his group of X-Men, who tracked down Omega and Mimic to see if they would join the cause. Turning down their offer, a battle erupted between them until Forget-Me-Not made himself noticed and asked Omega and Mimic to copy his powers so they would become unseen and then unforgettable to Cyclops and the others. They teleported away without remembering their entire encounter. Omega then explained to Forget-Me-Not that he can take his powers away, but that would just make him a regular person with no history. Convinced by their speech, he decided not to go through with it. As he turned around, which made Mimic and Omega forget about it, he then watched as they flew off into the sky. Mutant energy absorption. Michael Pointer is a mutant with the ability to absorb the energy of other mutants and project the energy outwards in powerful blasts. As the collective, he contained the inherent power of almost every mutant on the planet. His energy was greatly increased due to absorbing the energy signatures of the depowered mutants. Full capabilities of the collective Omega are unknown. Thank you for watching, and special thanks to the Marvel Database for all information you heard today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you can, if you have. Thank you, and have a nice day.